It was 5 o'clock, and Alan was riding his motorcycle in San Francisco. When was Alan riding his motorcycle?
At 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, Alan was riding his motorcycle in San Francisco.
Alan was riding his motorcycle. Was Alan riding his car? Or was Alan riding his motorcycle?
Alan was riding his motorcycle.
Alan was riding his motorcycle. Where was Alan riding his motorcycle?
In San Francisco. Alan was riding his motorcycle in San Francisco.
In San Francisco. When was he riding?
At 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, Alan was riding his motorcycle in San Francisco.
In San Francisco. He was riding down Van Ness Street and came to a stoplight. Who was riding down Van Ness Street?
Alan. Alan was riding down Van Ness Street.
Alan was riding down Van Ness Street. What was he riding on?
On his motorcycle. Alan was riding on his motorcycle.
He was riding on his motorcycle. Was he riding down Market Street?
No, he wasn't.
No,
He was riding down Van Ness Street.
He wasn't riding down Market Street. Was he riding down Lombard Street?
Oh, he was riding down Van Ness Street.
He wasn't riding down Lombard Street. He was riding down Van Ness Street. When? When was he riding down Van Ness Street?
At 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, Alan was riding down Van Ness Street.
He was riding down Van Ness Street. Who was riding down Van Ness Street?
Alan.
At 5
Alan was riding down Van Ness Street at 5 o'clock.
Alan was riding down Van Ness Street at 5 o'clock. Was he in a truck?
No, he wasn't. He was on his motorcycle.
He wasn't in a truck. He was on his motorcycle. And he came to a stoplight. Did Alan come to a go light?
No, he didn't. He came to a stoplight.
He didn't come to a go light. He came to a stoplight. We never say go light. We only say stoplight. Who came to a stoplight?
Alan. Alan came to a stoplight.
Alan, of course. Alan came to a stoplight. What was he on when he came?
He was on his motorcycle when he came to a stoplight.
He was on a motorcycle when he came to a stoplight. Where was the stoplight?
The stoplight was on Van Ness Street.
Well, on Van Ness Street. The stoplight was on Van Ness Street. Was the stoplight on Embarcadero Street?
No.
Or was the stoplight on Van Ness Street?
The Van Ness Street. The stoplight was on Van Ness Street.
The stoplight was on Van Ness Street. Who was at the stoplight?
Alan. Alan was at a stoplight.
Alan was at the stoplight. Which city was Alan in?
San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Alan was in San Francisco.
Alan was in San Francisco. Where is Van Ness?
Van Ness is in
Van
San
Ness
Francisco.
Street is in San Francisco. Of course, Van Ness Street is in San Francisco. Is Van Ness Street in New York?
No,
Or
it
is Van Ness Street in San Francisco?
is in San Francisco.
Well, of course, Van Ness Street is in San Francisco. Where was Alan riding?
Alan was riding on Van Ness Street in San Francisco.
On Van Ness Street in San Francisco. And he came to a stoplight. A red Ferrari pulled up next to him. Did the red Ferrari pull up behind him?
Oh, no, it didn't. It pulled up next to him.
Not behind him. The red Ferrari pulled up next to him. What pulled up next to Alan?
A red Ferrari. A red Ferrari pulled up next to
A
him.
red Ferrari pulled up next to Alan.
Pull up.
Did Alan pull up next to a red Ferrari?
No, he didn't. A red Ferrari pulled up next to
Alan
him.
didn't pull up next to a red Ferrari. A red Ferrari pulled up next to him. Where did the red Ferrari pull up next to Alan?
At 5 o'clock.
At a stoplight on Van Ness Street. At a stoplight on Van Ness Street, a red Ferrari pulled up next to Alan. Was Alan in a red Ferrari?
No, he wasn't. He was on his
Alan
motorcycle.
wasn't in a red Ferrari. He was on a motorcycle. Alan was on a motorcycle. What did the red Ferrari do?
The red Ferrari pulled up next to him.
It pulled up next to Alan. The red Ferrari pulled up next to Alan. The driver was wearing dark sunglasses. So, Alan was wearing dark sunglasses.
No, he didn't. The driver was wearing dark
not Alan.
sunglasses.
Alan wasn't wearing dark sunglasses. Who was wearing dark sunglasses?
The driver of red Ferrari was
The
wearing dark
driver
sunglasses.
of the Ferrari. The driver of the Ferrari was wearing dark sunglasses, not Alan. The driver looked over at Alan. Did the driver look behind Alan?
Oh, not behind. The driver looked
He looked
over at Alan.
At Alan. Who looked over at Alan?
The driver of red Ferrari looked over at Alan.
Ferrari looked over at Alan. Did Alan look over at the driver?
No, he didn't. The driver
Yes,
looked
he did.
over at Alan.
Alan also looked over at the driver. Who was the driver?
It's Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise was the driver. Alan looked over at the driver and realized that the driver was Tom Cruise. Who was the driver of the Ferrari?
Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise
Tom Cruise.
was the
Tom
driver.
Cruise was the driver of the Ferrari. Who was the motorcycle rider?
Alan. Alan was motorcycle driver.
Alan was the motorcycle rider. And Tom Cruise was the driver of the Ferrari. Who looked over at Alan?
Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise looked over at Alan.
Looked over at Alan. What was Tom Cruise wearing?
Tom Cruise was wearing dark sunglasses.
Sunglasses. Tom Cruise was wearing dark sunglasses.
Dark sunglasses.
Was Alan wearing dark sunglasses?
No, he wasn't. Tom Cruise was wearing dark sunglasses.
Tom Cruise was wearing dark sunglasses. And he looked over at Alan. Tom sneered at Alan. Oh no. Did Tom smile?
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
He sneered at Alan.
Smile. He sneered at Alan. Was Tom friendly and nice?
No, he wasn't. Because he sneered at Alan.
And nice. He sneered at Alan. Did Alan sneer at Tom Cruise?
Oh, he didn't. Tom sneered at Alan.
Well, Tom Cruise sneered at Alan. After he sneered, what did Tom Cruise say?
Tom says, when the light turns green, let's race.
When the light turns green, let's race. After he sneered at Alan, Tom Cruise said, when the light turns green, let's race. Did Tom want to race? Yes, of course. He has a Ferrari. He wanted to race. Alan said, all right, you're on. Did Alan agree to race Tom?
Yes, he agreed with Tom.
He said, you're on. Did Tom say, you're on?
No, he didn't.
No, Tom
Alan says,
you're on.
You are on.
Alan said, you're on. Alan agreed to race. Who said, you're on?
Alan said, you're on.
Alan said, you're on. What did Alan agree to do?
Alan agreed to race.
To race. Alan agreed to race Tom. He said, you're on. Tom said, I'm gonna smoke you, sucker. Did Tom say he would beat Alan?
Yes, of course.
Yes, he did.
Tom says, I'm gonna smoke you, sucker.
I'm gonna beat you. Did Tom say he would win? Yes, he said he would win. He said, I'm gonna smoke you. Who was Tom gonna smoke?
Alan. Tom was gonna smoke you, Alan.
Gonna smoke Alan. Was Tom gonna smoke